Imagine sailing through calm waters and stumbling upon a massive ship drifting silently across the sea. From a distance, it looks perfectly intact, no signs of distress. But as you get closer, the silence becomes unsettling. No movement, no crew, no life. You board the ship and find food still on the table, belongings untouched, and everything seemingly in order. But the people? They're gone, vanished without a trace. This isn't the plot of a horror film. This is the true story of the Mary Celeste, one of the greatest maritime mysteries of all time. A ghost ship found adrift in the Atlantic Ocean, with no sign of struggle, no evidence of violence, and no crew ever found. The Mary Celeste was a 282-ton American merchant brigantine that set sail from New York City on November 7, 1872. Its destination was Genoa, Italy. On board were the ship's captain, Benjamin Briggs, his wife, their 2-year-old daughter, and a crew of 7 experienced sailors. The cargo? Over 1,700 barrels of industrial alcohol. The journey should have been routine, but something happened out at sea, something so mysterious that to this day, no one knows the truth. On December 4, 1872, a month into the voyage, another ship, the Dei Gratia, spotted the Mary Celeste drifting near the Azores Islands. The crew of the Dei Gratia noticed the sails were partially set, and the ship seemed oddly off course, so they approached. Upon boarding the vessel, what they discovered has baffled historians and sailors for over 150 years. The ship was completely deserted. There were no signs of violence, no bodies, and no distress signal. The crew had vanished. Strangely, the ship itself was in good condition. The hull was intact. The cargo, except for a few barrels, was untouched. There were months' worth of food and clean water on board. The crew's belongings, including valuables, were still there. The only things missing were the lifeboat, some navigational tools like the sextant and chronometer, and the ship's logbook, though the last entry in the log was dated 10 days earlier and showed nothing unusual. It was as if the crew had just stepped off the ship, mid-voyage, never to return. The question is, why would an experienced captain, his family, and a trusted crew abandon a seaworthy ship in the middle of the ocean? Over the years, countless theories have emerged. One of the most common suggestions was foul play or mutiny. But there were no signs of struggle, no blood, no weapons, no indication of violence. Others thought pirates might be to blame, but pirates usually loot ships, and everything on board, even the alcohol, remained untouched. Another theory was that a sudden natural disaster, like a seaquake or waterspout, terrified the crew into thinking the ship was sinking, leading them to flee temporarily in the lifeboat. However, the Mary Celeste was still afloat and in excellent condition when found. Could the lifeboat have broken free, stranding the crew at sea? Possibly, but there were no distress signals, no floating remains, and no survivors or bodies ever found. Then came a more technical theory. Because the cargo included raw industrial alcohol, some believe that the barrels may have leaked, releasing toxic or explosive fumes. The crew, fearing an explosion, may have abandoned ship temporarily, expecting to return once the air was clear. In 2006, a group of scientists tested this theory. They showed that alcohol fumes could cause a pressure wave explosion, a loud bang that could terrify a crew, but leave no scorch marks or damage. This remains one of the most scientifically supported explanations. Of course, not all theories are so rational. With a story this eerie, supernatural speculation was inevitable. Some believe the Mary Celeste was cursed, or that paranormal forces took the crew. Others point to the ghost ship as proof of alien abduction or sea monsters. Even famous author Sir Arthur Conan Doyle wrote a fictional version of the tale, fueling myths of sea creatures and invisible dangers. While entertaining, there's no real evidence for these paranormal claims, only a deep human fascination with the unknown. When the Mary Celeste was brought to Gibraltar, a legal investigation began. At first, The salvage crew was suspected of wrongdoing, perhaps even murdering the crew, but after weeks of examination, no evidence was found. The judge concluded there was no crime committed, but couldn't explain what actually happened. The salvage reward was reduced significantly because the entire case felt suspicious. The Mary Celeste continued to sail under different captains after the incident, but its reputation was forever haunted. Sailors considered it a cursed ship. Years later, it was deliberately wrecked in a failed insurance scam, an unfortunate end for such an infamous vessel. Today, most experts agree that the crew likely abandoned ship in fear, possibly due to fumes from the alcohol or a misunderstood threat. The captain may have tied the lifeboat to the ship and ordered a temporary evacuation, expecting to return soon. But rough seas or a snapped rope could have separated them from the vessel, leaving them adrift in open water. Without supplies or navigation tools, they would have quickly perished, lost to the vastness of the Atlantic. Still, one fact remains: not a single member of the Mary Celeste crew was ever seen or heard from again. No lifeboat was found. No bodies ever washed ashore. Their fate remains one of the greatest unanswered questions in maritime history. What makes the story so powerful isn't just the mystery, but the silence. No storm, no distress call. Just a ship sailing alone with every sign of normalcy except for one chilling detail: its people were gone, vanished. The Mary Celeste stands as a reminder that even in an age of science, some stories refuse to be explained. And maybe that's what makes them unforgettable. If you found this mystery as chilling as we did, hit like, drop a theory in the comments, and subscribe for more real-life unsolved stories. Until next time, stay curious and never stop questioning what lies just beneath the surface.